App Planning for Success. Brought to you by Software Accelerator Playbook. On Instagram at S.A.Playbook. Today we are talking about how restaurants are like apps. Now tell me if this is you. If you have been to a restaurant before where you noticed something that was off, or you noticed something that was maybe not ideal, and you realized if the owner was there, and if the owner of that establishment saw what you saw, that they would immediately fix it, or put it on a top priority list of like, oh geez, this thing needs to be fixed for the people. But for some reason it hadn't been fixed yet, which probably meant that the owner hadn't seen it yet, and the owner didn't realize that that's what was going on, and that the owner was depending on the people that were working for him to be able to tell him what's up and let him know about these certain things. And if there wasn't a process in place to do that, then the thing stays broken, whatever it is, whether something's messy or something's broken or something's out of place or somebody was rude or whatever it is, that if the information doesn't get back to the owner, then the problem stays a problem. And with apps, it's kind of the same sort of thing, that, not necessarily that, there's employees, working in the app. I don't mean in the case of that, although, yes, you do depend on your developers to be looking for things. But ultimately, you should be looking for your own issues yourself with your own team, with your own, tight internal team where they are reporting directly to you, and their job is to go through the app consistently and look for issues, looking for when things are broken, looking for when things are off, notifying you on, this happened or that happened, or, I was curious about this or whatever else, so that you can keep your finger on the pulse of what's actually happening. Because if you play too far outside of that, and you just, expect that, things are going to get done and things will be done properly, that you won't be able to see if there's a breakdown in that system. Now, of course, depending on how big the app can get, you can hire people to do this for you, right? So depending on exactly the part you need to play and how big your business gets. But ultimately, the idea is that don't assume that it's all working ever. Never, ever, ever assume that it's all working. And the reason why I say that is because with software, there's always something that can go wrong. Something can get upgraded. One new fix can create a new issue. Something can get overwritten. There's just a huge amount of things that could go wrong, just by updating code and having this kind of living, breathing sort of, software project where things are being constantly updated. So a big part of this whole scenario, and kind of wrapping back to the idea of the restaurant, right? What if the owner had somebody working for them who always ate at the restaurant every single day and walked and toured the restaurant every single day? That they would be the eyes and the ears of the owner, and they would be then reporting back, this thing's broken, this thing needs to be taken care of. That if that mechanism is in place, then those kinds of broken things would not stay broken too long. Now, you can't stop things from breaking, but you can be really quick to respond when they do break. And that's the key here. The idea is that you're quick to respond, quick to see the issues, quick to understand that the issues exist, as opposed to relying on your users to have to find the issues for you. And so this is really difficult because, not only are you trying to, build the thing, get the technical part right, get the marketing part right, it's a lot. It's a big, puzzle to be able to put together. But not only all that, but you also have to have this extra layer of testing and checking. And if you have a separate team from your developers that can test and check, this is where you're really going to start finding some stuff that otherwise you wouldn't know how to find. Now, if the developers are checking their own work, as they certainly should be, they're going to be finding, their own issues and being able to fix things before they even contact you back, which is fantastic. But they're not going to be checking every single thing. And they're not going to be checking, in certain ways that somebody else might check. How do they enter information into the form? What did they click on? What order do they click on things? What do they do in this scenario? What do they do in that scenario? That you can't possibly check every single combination of, how a user is going to use the software. And sometimes it's almost like if you ever played video games when you were younger, it's almost like entering a cheat code into a controller where, if you enter this long kind of combination of things, then you get this result. Same kind of thing with software, where sometimes, if you do this, and then after you do that thing, then you do this other thing, and then after you do that, then you do another thing, and then the situation presents itself. That's what I'm talking about, where sometimes these, unique little glitches or unique little things that happen are harder to find, and they require somebody kind of, poking around a little bit more in order to, really, to really find them. So if you've got this layer, separate from your dev team, where you're running at least one person as this QA layer, this quality assurance layer that's in the app, that's using the app, that knows about the app, that knows what to check, that knows what to test. They're testing different devices, they're testing different browsers, they're testing different sizes, they're testing, clicking on things all sorts of different ways. They're entering in, the wrong information on purpose. They're entering in too much information on purpose. They're uploading images that are too big on purpose. They're trying to push the limits, trying to push the boundaries of the app. And the whole point here is to be able to catch certain things. When things go wrong, they want to be able to catch that. They want to see, when it goes wrong, how does the system respond? What does the system actually do? And making sure that all of those protections are in place. And if they're reporting directly back to you, and they can give you kind of a report of, here's what I found, here's what's going on, then you've got your finger on the pulse, as if you would have spent those hours doing it. But instead of you actually spending those hours, you're focused on a bigger, a bigger piece of the business, or, being able to bring people in, or marketing, or whatever else it is that's going to kind of drive, money generation into the business. But you're still getting that sort of thing done. So if you are interested in getting help with this kind of thing, if you need help, moving your app forward, and you want to do it right, if you want to make sure that you're not going to be, going back and forth and, really, pulling your hair out with all of these different issues, I'm here to help. Happy to chat with you. Just DM me at S.A.Playbook on Instagram, and I can help you out. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.